What's going on? I'm Scott from KONIG, and today we're going to be talking about big brakes. Maybe you have them on your car, maybe you're looking to upgrade. Well, we're going to talk about all the things you need to consider before you pick your wheel. The first thing is why wheel fitment actually matters. Well, look, when you pick a wheel, you obviously want to pick the right diameter. You don't want to pick something that's too small and it crashes into the brake. You also don't want to pick something that has the wrong offset, because first it either sticks outside the car or it's going to crash into the brake. And the next thing you're going to want to consider is the overall width. This obviously sometimes plays into how the wheel is going to be shaped, especially in the spoke, and that spoke profile does matter. It could crash into a brake, it could cause issues, so that's why you want to be careful when you choose the right wheel. All right, so let's say you get your wheel and now you're going to have to actually test fit this wheel to the car. There's a couple ways you can do it. There's also a couple ways you can do it before you actually get the wheel. So the first way to actually determine whether your brake is going to clear this wheel is going to be using a brake caliper template. You can get these on most of the aftermarket brake manufacturers' websites. If you put on an aftermarket kit, you can download it, you could take that PDF and essentially send it to us or other wheel manufacturers if they're willing to do it. We do. You can send us that brake caliper template and we can go ahead and lay it into a 2D of our wheel and let you know before you even buy the wheel whether that is going to clear the brake. Now the other option is a little bit more primitive. You just buy the wheel and test fit it on the car before you mount any tires. Now I would check with a retailer before you go ahead and make a purchase with the intent of just checking the wheel fitment, because some of them are going to have return policies that may not be conducive to you doing a physical test fit. There's also going to be other stores that will allow you to come there, do a test fit. So what I would do is just make sure that the return policy, they don't have any issues with you test fitting a wheel, obviously not damaging it, repacking it if it doesn't fit, and bringing it back. But if you do that, you can actually physically test the wheel and just make sure that everything clears. Now, keep in mind that if you have a big brake kit and you don't have wheels to fit it right now, this may be a problem. You may have to leave your car in jack stands until the wheel shows up, so you may want to think of that ahead of time. But at the end of the day, the physical test fit, or doing it the other way where you do it electronically or digitally, should allow you to know whether this fits your car and also allows it to know if it clears the brake. So another situation could be that it's not an aftermarket brake kit at all, that it is actually an OE larger brake upgrade. You might see this on a Porsche, you might see this on a BMW and they use an M package. You may see this on things like a Lancer Evolution, where they are going to use a bigger Brembo brake. Now this happens plenty of times, especially as of the past 10 years or so. So you're going to want to make sure that you know what wheels fit this car. In most cases, most of the wheel manufacturers are going to be able to advise you if this wheel will fit your car. Now when it comes down to making sure that you have a guaranteed fit, there are some things that you're going to want to do. One of them is just use the internet. The fact is, there's plenty of people that have bought probably the same wheel with the same car that you have, maybe even the same aftermarket brake kit, and have already confirmed that it does indeed fit. The second thing you could do, which we do not condone at all, has to do with the use of a spacer. Now, in a very select circumstance, you could use a spacer to find your way to success if you find out that the wheel that you actually have, you put onto the vehicle and it somehow just hits the car. Now we recommend 3.5 millimeters of brake clearance, both at the top of the caliper and toward the back of the spoke. So you're going to want to make sure that you have at least that. But if you don't, or if you need to just get away by a few millimeters, sometimes a spacer can work. Now there's a lot of caveats to using a spacer, and we don't condone them because there's so many issues that could arise if you improperly install them or use them without getting proper thread engagement. All of these things, whether it be spacers or thread engagement, you can go watch these videos and we can give you more information. So just be careful, but spacing could be a way to find yourself to success if you've already found yourself in a bad situation. So one other factor that's probably a little bit more specific to us when it comes down to choosing the right wheel for your big brake car or aftermarket big brake kit has to do with the profile of the spoke. Now we've said this before, but what we're talking about here specifically to us is an A and a B profile. Now you'll see us mention this on our website. An A profile means that the wheel is a little bit flatter, going to be less concave, but it's going to have more caliper clearance. A B profile would insinuate that the wheel does have more of a concave profile, and of course everybody loves it, but a concave profile could get you in trouble on a big brake car because it will have a spoke that will make a much harder diving movement toward the PCD, where the bolts actually secure the wheel to the car. So this is one of those things that we're going to want to be really careful with, because that diving movement may look really cool. It could also get you in a lot of trouble, because if there's a brake occupying the same space, that that spoke is diving through, you obviously can see where that would be a conflict. So wrapping up this video, we just want to make sure that you understand that when it comes down to being able to choose a wheel for a car that either has a big brake kit or you're going to be putting on a big brake kit, that you're going to consider the obvious things. Did I get the right wheel size? In other words, is it going to clear height-wise? Did I get the right wheel fitment as far as the spoke profile and the spoke shape so it doesn't crash on the brake? Did I make sure that I have the right offset? Not only to make sure that I clear the brake, but also so that the wheel doesn't hang outside the car or crash inboard on the strut. And again, if you have a big brake kit, aside from calling the manufacturer, you can always do those two things, which is either one, if it's an aftermarket brake, get the brake caliper template right from the website, email it to us. As long as it's in PDF form, we should be able to help you out and make sure that that is a confirmed fitment, or tell you how much it's going to hit by. The other thing you could do is actually just physically test fit a wheel, but doing these things will keep you out of trouble and make sure that your wheel is always going to clear. So that's it. We're just here trying to make your wheel experience much better, and so that you don't have any issues. For some people, this may be really primitive, but it is an important fact of life, especially with more cars coming with big brake kits right from the factory. That's it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one.